Alright, how's it going? David Drape, Leo Drape, here with a diorama tutorial. We're actually going to be starting on a new diorama from the very beginning, and you're going to see our whole process to the very end. Oh yeah!
Yeah. I made this diorama up myself. My dad helped me a little bit. He has a drawing of what I basically drew it first, and then my dad drew it, like copied it, redid.
Yeah, this was Leo's first. There we go. This was Leo's first drawing that he initially did, and then he wanted me to redraw it for him. And based off of his original drawing and his ideas that he was telling me as I was drawing with him next to me, this is what we came up with together. And this is what his diorama is going to look like. You always want to try drawing out your idea. And things might change as you go along. Don't be surprised. This might be pushed back further. The way things look might be a little bit different. This might be a little bit bigger. It doesn't matter. This is just a roadmap of where you want to go. You might take some shortcuts in the end, and you might go the long way. But the idea is that you always refer back to this because it's like, okay, I want to do the water tower over here, but I want to do the ladder over here. What if we do a fire escape over here? And then what if we do this air conditioner duct over here? And then what if we do another fireplace over here with a chimney coming out and smoke coming out of it? But you can do all that for sure. But the idea is that this is your roadmap, and you can totally get wild with it, but it helps you not feel so cluttered with the chaos. You want to try freeing yourself as an artist. You're going to hear us say that a lot. Freeing yourself as an artist. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Leo? Oh yes. Oh yeah. He also he was doing it with Ninja Turtles in mind. Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah. Like my dad said, I did it with Ninja Turtles in mind, because the scene where Raphael was getting beat up by the foot soldiers in the second one was stuck in my head, so I let it out and drew it in a diorama.
That was the first one.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When Casey Jones shows up. But yeah, so the idea is that we're going to show you how to recycle your white polystyrene styrofoam that you usually get with shipping and packing and things like that. Instead of throwing it away, we're going to show you how to turn it into an awesome piece of art. And starting off today, what we're going to do is we're going to take our road map, and we're going to start to lay out some pieces that we have that are pre-cut, that will give us the idea of what we want to do. And I have a couple NECA figures right here. We don't have our Ninja Turtles quite yet, but we do have some NECA figures that usually they're about the same size. So I grabbed Bishop from Aliens, and I grabbed Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator. And we're going to be using them as spacers. And what I mean by that is, you'll see as we go along, we're going to lay down a bunch of styrofoam pieces. The idea is that this piece that you're seeing right here, yeah, you're not in the way, don't worry. This piece that you're seeing right here is going to actually be this piece right here. We're going to lift it up a little bit, and I'll show you different ways that we can do that. They're super simple. And put a ladder right here as a fire escape. We might not keep it as tall as it is, I'm not sure, but the idea is that we want to be able to have perhaps a couple guys even standing up here once it's ready to go. Because we're going to end up putting a bit of a lip at the top once we get the brakes drawn on there and all that. That's going to probably be the next episode, is when we'll show you how to get the bricks all laid in place and all that. But for now, I'll show you what I mean by spacing. So we have this. We know that this, like I said, this is going to be this piece right here, and I want to raise it. So here's a couple different ways that you can raise it. Like I said, hanging onto your packaging. We tend to get toys delivered. We used to be a part of this Your Toy Box. Really cool boxes that they would send. And you can use this to put your piece of styrofoam on. And I think we're going to try to make this modular. Right? Make it modular.
Yeah.
So we can, I don't know if we're going to do magnets or not. We're going to see as we go along. It might have enough weight in it to be able to place these different pieces here and there. So I have these little boxes, various different sizes that I just hang on to when we get packages. And the idea is to use one of these to place under your styrofoam as your spacer. So I don't know if I'm going to have it be that tall or not. I don't know, what do you think? Because you do have on here, oops, let me grab the darker one so they can see. You do have on here, on this side, you wanted to put some windows. So maybe having this side taller would be better. Do you think? And then perhaps bringing this down a little bit lower.
With the toy box one.
With the toy box one, yeah. Let's check this out really quick. No, that's a little too small. Yeah. Okay. So I think Leo's right with that one. We'll do the toy box one. We get these pieces out of here so they're not in our way so much. All right. So we'll do the toy box one, and I'm kind of liking the way that this is looking right here, because what we can end up doing is taking some styrofoam and putting it on the front of the box right here to create this effect.
You can't see it.
Putting the styrofoam on the front of the box right here to create this effect that we have right here, and that'll make it look more like a building. We might not have to put any styrofoam on this side, but I would definitely think about putting a piece of styrofoam here, just to make it be able to have that building detail. I think that would look really neat. And then we have this taller piece here. Let me get these guys out of the way. So now we have this taller piece here on this side that will be big enough, like in the picture, to put the windows on. Now, this is an example of what I mean by this is just a road map. So over here, you see this was supposed to be a little bit bigger than this one. Now they're both about the same size. That's okay. That doesn't really matter, because you know what? This box that we're using right here is actually going to give us more space to be able to put in our water tower. And I'll show you with all these really fun little things we hang on to, how you can do a water tower. So let me set this down real quick right here, and I'll show you. Using these pieces, this can end up being a part of this building right here if we wanted, or we can even take this and put this right here, and oh, look at that, that can be a part of that building. But as you can see right here, this has this really neat design right here. So I'm almost thinking perhaps what we can do is use that as a corner of a building right there. Have these kind of like connect together like that almost, and perhaps lay one window right here instead of the two windows like in the drawing. What do you think, Leo?
I think one would work, because if we were going to do two, we would have one shoved into this corner and the other shoved into this.
Right. And then again, with the scaling of the NECA figures, they're a little bit bigger than like the Marvel dudes, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna need like a bigger window, just especially because it's Ninja Turtles. And then let's see. So I have all these different pieces of styrofoam that we've hung on to. My wife got this really cool delivery at her job that was these big, really thick, really dense pieces of styrofoam that were giant ice coolers that had
Dried ice.
yeah, dried ice and meat inside them. So I tore them apart, and now I have all these really cool, thick pieces of styrofoam to work with. So if you ever get like a meat shipment from like Omaha Steaks or something like that, or seafood shipment, hang on to the styrofoam from that. That's really good. Really thick styrofoam to work with. Because you'll notice I don't have any more of the old styrofoam we used to work with. It chips off and breaks really easily if the bubbles of the styrofoam are larger, because that means that the styrofoam is looser packed, and it tears up really nasty too. You'll see in the next video that we do what it looks like when you start tearing into it to get the bricks in there. It looks really neat, and it's super simple is the fun part. Leo's gonna be laying bricks, I'm gonna be laying bricks, it's gonna be cool.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
What if we turn this actually into a skate park area? This
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like a little ramp.
That's cool. I like that idea. So we can hang on to this for another project. So for right now, because we want to focus on our rooftop, I'll just set that aside and make sure that we don't use that for our rooftop. And pulling out different pieces of scrap styrofoam. Like this can be used for something. I have this thick piece right here. I don't know if we'll really use this one because of how thick it is. We'll probably save that for another project. But I do have a bunch of these other pieces like this. So I'm gonna lay this guy behind over here. So we have some smaller pieces like this. This can end up being like a really neat chimney effect. Like I was joking around, like jumping around with all the different things that we can do. But this can end up being like a really cool chimney effect where you carve your bricks into it, and then what we would end up doing is putting a couple pieces of dowel in there. That's circular pieces of wood, and paint it up, and it'll look like a chimney on a New York rooftop. I think it's going a lot, but it's okay. It's okay. You know? Just keep going. And oh, look at that. So I've got this piece of styrofoam right here that looks like it might fit. So you can tell that it lifted up right here just a little bit. So I can either decide to lay it differently like this over it, or I can slice away at this piece of styrofoam. Yeah, that all depends on how involved I want to get, or how involved Leo wants to get. So honestly, we'll probably just end up gluing it to the box like that, and putting another piece of styrofoam over the top right here to hide these pieces of the box. Just because that would be a lot easier to add styrofoam to it to give it the effect that we're looking for. But this is nice because we already have these extra pieces. I don't need to do any cutting. We can just start gluing. And I really think this effect is going to look really cool. Perhaps we'll put like a little gargoyle over here or something, because I don't know if you can hear it or not, but we got a 3D printer too. And we got a bunch of really cool stuff that we've been 3D printing. You'll have to check it out on the eBay store. A lot of fun new stuff coming out that we got going on. Glue. So we got different kinds of glue that we use. I have hot glue, tacky glue, Elmer's white glue. I'm going to show you how to use the Elmer's clear glue and the Elmer's white glue to make a primer.
There's glue in there?
Yeah, that's glue. That's clear glue. I accidentally ordered the wrong glue and I ordered the clear glue, but it still works for what we're doing. So I'm going to show you what both look like, because I still have some white glue left over too. That's just regular school glue. But you mix it with the baby powder, and what that is it's talc, and talc is very fine rock grounded up. So what ends up happening is as you mix it with the glue, it becomes like a cement, and the more layers you do of it, it hardens up and becomes like a rock. But that's for another episode. You'll see that later. But when I glue these pieces in place, I use different glue. So I've got some glue sticks right here that I got. People really be like, oh, Walmart, but you know, I got it from Walmart because it was super cheap. And you know, I've got a kid, so I gotta get cheap art supplies. Which is why we use the styrofoam too, because I don't got $8-10 to spend on sheets of styrofoam from insulation foam from Lowe's or Home Depot. So I use this stuff, and plus again, it's another way of freeing yourself as an artist. You'll hear me say it a lot, freeing yourself as an artist. And again, the only wrong way to make art is
to not make it at all.
Oh yeah. So let's keep moving forward. Anyways, I just got Leo another glue gun. I've got my glue gun, and now he's gonna have his that he can use to glue stuff. So if I was gluing two pieces of styrofoam, this is important right here. If I was gluing two pieces of styrofoam together, I would not use my hot glue gun necessarily. Because what ends up happening is, especially with this one's a dual temperature glue gun right here. So that means that it's high for hot, like it's really hot, and low for a cooler temperature. You could use the cooler temperature one, but even if I were using the hot glue, I would still go over it with some tacky glue or Elmer's glue in between the grooves, just to get some more security of sticking together. Like I said, we would do this modularly, so these would be two separate pieces right here. That's what I meant by modularly. I don't think we're going to be doing the magnets, because I do think this will end up being heavy enough by itself. But when I will be gluing the styrofoam to the cardboard, I will end up using the glue gun, because I'll just get it done faster, and then I will end up doing over the edges of everything, going over it with the Elmer's glue, or the white glue, because I don't really use Elmer's glue. I go to the dollar store and get white glue because it's cheaper. But not anymore, because, you know, don't really want to be out in public anymore, so I just order everything through Walmart. So anyways, back to art. So like I was saying, for pieces where I would take a bit of styrofoam and glue it to another bit of styrofoam like that, that's where I would bust out the tacky glue. Tacky glue. I usually get these from the dollar store because they're cheaper. I like the little bottles. I don't know if you can get it, the larger ones for cheaper someplace else. I haven't really figured that out yet, but I do know that you can get these from Dollar Tree for $1 each, little bottle like this. And I find that these are nicer for me, because then I'm able to grab them and go grab some styrofoam and take my art to go, because I'm always constantly working on something. We're always making accessories and things like that for dioramas, and accessories that we sell as well. So I would use tacky glue if I was taking a piece of styrofoam and gluing it to another piece of styrofoam, but I would not necessarily use this for gluing the edges after using the hot glue, simply because this is a little bit more expensive than the white glue is, so I would just use the white glue for those corners. And let me show you how to place these things. Oh, this is actually, I think I'm going to save this for a larger wall that we're going to be making later on. So I can take this bit of styrofoam here, lay this over the top there. Like I said, I wanted to keep this one as my edge there, which is going to give us a really, really neat edge here that the characters will be able to stand on. We're going to end up having our window just right here, and probably end up adding this piece to this side over here. Perhaps like this, or along the lines of that, to follow the same design that's on this one right here. And that's the other fun part with this styrofoam is that you're going to find a lot of really neat edges like this. There are ways to hide this right here, this circle that you have right here. You can either sand it, or you can fill it in, or you can even leave it as like a really neat decorative accent. Oh yeah, I see you yawning. I see you yawning. I see you yawning over there. So, that's what I've done in some cases, is I've left it as a decorative piece, because you will see that in architecture sometimes. And then the primer, if you were going over it a few more times, yeah, there we go, the light's catching that just enough that you can see it. There's like a little circle right here that's an indentation. I could either sand that, buff it off, either with the Dremel or just regular sandpaper. It does make a really nasty sound, but it does look nice. Or you can go over it extra times with the primer and it will fill it in and take it away. So now that we can basically see where we want to go with this, of how I have the front here, this is going to be my rooftop. This is going to be my rooftop that my characters are standing on. I can see how much space I'm going to be dealing with. I can see from here, the really neat part too is that there's these little dots. I don't know if it's going to pick it up or not, but there's these little dots that go straight across, and you can actually use these as measurements. So I can see right here from that box that I'm going to have to chop off about this much later on. So I know not to deal within that much space there as I'm doing my planning here. So as I was saying, Leo wanted to do a water tower. Where did I put? There it is. So Leo wanted to do a water tower effect, and we're planning on doing it on this side here. So the easiest way to do that, I figured, would be to take one of these like smaller coffee canisters, the Don Francisco's. It still smells good. Oh yeah. And all I would do is I would lay some popsicle sticks over it. Larger popsicle sticks, not the smaller ones that you actually get from popsicles. I would use the ones that are probably more like the medium-sized ton depressor, not the ones that are the size of a large ton depressor. That's for other projects. But this one worked nicely with those medium-sized ones. We do have some. I'll show you another time. This will be like one whole video probably, where we'll show you how to make the water tower and make it look really neat. I've got some cool rooftop effects like this that we'll be adding to the top of it. It'll look really neat, really snazzy. So, as I was saying, I know not to work within these last 3 divots that are on here. So I know that my water tower is going to set right here. Now, again, we did our drawing here, and on our drawing we have these legs that are sticking, these legs right here that are sticking out kind of in a V shape going downward. Now we can do that, but it will take away from a display area for our characters. It wouldn't necessarily take away from the photographing of it, but I can also cut down on that by simply just raising it and putting perhaps like a cement looking bed under it, or something that doesn't take up as much space as the arch would of the shape of the original drawing that we had. And it'll still look really neat. Perhaps I'll go into some more research of different water towers and what they used. But anyways, so we can see from here, that's where our water tower is going to be. This needs to be chopped off, that needs to be chopped off, but we can see how much space we're going to be working with it. So right here you can see Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to stand in for like Mikey or Donatello, and Bishop's going to stand in right here for whoever, another Ninja Turtle. And I'm going to take into account the fact that they are going to end up having shells too. So I would probably push my water tower back just a little bit just to give more space, right? Wouldn't you think, Leo?
Yeah.
So we do know that these characters would be able to stand up closer to the edge like this. That's perfectly fine. He's got enough space behind him. He's got enough space behind him. This will be raised more, and it will end up having a rooftop that will bring it to about that height. It won't look so funny as it does just sitting here like this. I know it kind of like looks a little sillier, but the scaling might be off a little bit. So we know, okay, this side looks pretty neat, right? We'll be able to have another character even standing right there, perhaps having all four of them standing on just this one rooftop alone. Pretty cool. Perhaps over here have like some foot soldiers, or bad guys coming towards them or something. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. Maybe perhaps make some customs or something. Casey Jones. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I know Casey Jones is coming out from the movie.
Right, yeah. But, wouldn't that be fun to make our own?
Yeah,
anyways,
maybe, a different face, because I think with just Casey Jones, I think it's just the hockey mask.
Right, yeah, that's what they were saying is NECA was only able to release the Casey Jones with the mask, which I think is really cool. At least we get a Casey Jones. But I would like to probably make our own custom that has like both heads that you can change out. That would be fun. Maybe sculpt our own, maybe 3D print our own. We have 3D printed a Miles Morales head that we haven't painted up yet. I am painting up a bunch of different things. I'll probably release a video of painting your 3D props that you've printed out, 3D characters. I have a Slimer that I did that is a lot of fun that I scaled myself because I don't really like the scales of the other ones that they've released. It's really frustrating. To me, it always looks a little too small. It doesn't look like a person wearing the costume like Slimer actually did in the film. So I scaled mine a little bit differently. I really enjoy it. But that's another video. So back to what I was saying. So we know how this one's going to be laid out right here. We can basically see it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, gargoyles, sconces, that's what it's sconces, and architecture. And so let's focus over here a little bit more, and let's see. So we've got these guys. We know that we're gonna want some sort of lip on the edge right here. So I'm gonna take our piece that's the chimney, and I'm going to use it as a spacer for now. So we're going to see probably do it more like this. That's probably what that would look like. I'll even do it in the middle right there, just to give us more of an idea of what we're going to get in the end. Okay, so like I was saying, we've got the lip in place right here. You can see that. We've got these two guys right here, and we still have space next to them to be able to put a couple more guys, right, Leo?
Yeah.
And Leo was saying that he liked the idea of perhaps having another lip up here. It would obviously stand out a little bit more than that, where we would be able to take a couple dudes and stand them up right there, making it look like it was the rooftop of another building. So essentially, with Leo's design, it's really neat. He came up with 1, 2, 3 different spaces where you could display characters. Now, I don't know if we're going to keep this high. We might trim this off at the very top and use that piece as our lip. That's the cool part. Or we might just keep this as tall. What do you think, Leo?
I think, like you said, I think we should trim it and then have that as a lip.
Okay.
That sounds cool.
Okay, cool, yeah. Awesome. And then, like I was saying, that's the neat part about all this is like these pieces that I'm going to be trimming off later on can be used. Like this one right here that I need to trim off where the water tower is resting can end up being used for this side of this wall of the building to hide the box. Like I was saying, we don't necessarily need to hide the box in the middle right here. I mostly want to detail where we're actually going to see the box. Because the idea is that these two pieces are going to come together. I'm not really planning on having them flip around and look like a different rooftop. We might do that later on, just for funsies. Yeah, it's almost his nap time. Yeah, it's okay. Shake it off. Well, we're gonna go get some outside time in a little bit, but so now we can see where we're going with this. We can see what we need to do to bring it to the next level. So what's gonna end up happening is when we come back here next time, it's gonna be glued together. I'm gonna have these pieces chopped off. You know what? We'll probably maybe we'll take it a little bit slower than that. I'll show you how to chop it off. I'll show you what knives I use. I use steak knives a lot of times to chop it off. And I'll show you how to do some of the sanding and things like that. Yeah, we'll take it a step further. Take it a step further back. So next time when you come back, I'll show you how I'm going to chop off these pieces and use them as these other pieces for the diorama, and even recycling its own choppy chops. Okay, so for now, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna stop it there because we showed you how to use your figure for scaling. I don't necessarily need to pull out a tape measure or anything like that until our diorama is done, because I'm not building this for it to be for sale. I'm not working within certain parameters or anything like that of a custom piece. We just want to have fun with this and make it as big as we want to without it taking up as much space. Which is why we're gonna have it be modular like it is, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So when you come back next time, I'll show you how to do more to it of actually cutting it and gluing it and how I glue it and things like that. What do you think? Think that's a wrap?
Yep.
All right, awesome. So remember, we're free yourself as an artist, and
the only wrong way to make art is to not make it at all.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Drapes Creations.